Thank you, Greg. I hope all of you can hear me. Um, I want to start off by saying two things. One is congratulations. You have been accepted into Rensselaer, and you're interested in engineering. Both things mean a lot to me. These are big accomplishments, so congratulations. And secondly, thank you. I know that these are unprecedented times. During a normal semester, we would be welcoming you to our beautiful campus. You would be meeting with me, our faculty, our students, and we would be showing off our facilities and all the wonderful things that we have at Rensselaer to you. But it's not possible this time. So thank you all for allowing us into your homes, and thanks for your time. So I want to go back to my first slide and introduce myself a little bit. My name is Shekhar Garde. I am the Dean of Engineering here at Rensselaer. I'm also a professor of chemical and biological engineering. This is my 21st year at RPI, so as you can tell, I really enjoy being here. And as a dean, I get to lead the school. I get to teach a little bit. I get to do research. My research focuses on understanding proteins in water using high-performance computing, using what are called molecular dynamics simulations. So we essentially makes molecular level movies of the nanoscopic or microscopic world in computers. It's a lot of fun. I would say I get to do a lot of things, but perhaps the best thing, the most thing that I most enjoy is interacting with our students. They're intelligent, they are driven, they're passionate, and they want to change the world. And so what I thought I would do today is to try to answer three questions for you. Why become an engineer? Why RPI? Why Rensselaer? What is the future like? And then through it all, I hope you get a sense of the ambition that we have in our tagline, why not change the world? So let's start. Um, so I know that we are in the middle of a crisis. The country is in the middle of a major crisis. The world is facing a crisis. And when we watch the television channels or when you read the news, it feels terrible. It feels like the world is collapsing. And so I think in these times, it is really important for us, perhaps heartening to kind of take a broader view of the world, of the timeline. And so here I'm presenting to you some data on gross domestic product per capita that is inflation adjusted. The numbers might look a little smaller because they are in 1990 dollars. But what they tell us is that on a long time scale, the world has been getting better. World is getting better. In fact, there's a beautiful book by Steven Pinker um, uh, called Enlightenment Now, and he makes the case for applying reason, science, and humanity to what we do. And so he argues that, partly argues that it's the industrial revolution, the technological revolution that have that allowed us to make this tremendous progress. Now, you might say GDP per capita is only one measure of human well-being. You could look at infant mortality or lifespan of people in different parts of the world, and many of those indicators have gotten better over the last 200 years. You could look at a longer time scale, then you might find that the world was stasis and something interesting happened about 200 years ago. At RPI, we would like to say that we were founded 200 years ago, but it's really the technological revolutions that started this progress. And so I would argue, as the Dean of Engineering, that engineers have made major contributions to this progress that humanity has made. Now, as the Dean of Engineering at RPI, I would go further and I'd say it's the Rensselaer engineers that have made major contributions to this progress. Here I kind of outline a schematic of industrial revolutions along with the Rensselaer timeline and highlight some of the important contributions that our alums have made. As you may know, RPI was founded approximately 200 years ago. In fact, when you graduate from RPI, you'd be the bicentennial graduation class of RPI 2024. In the first 100 years, I would argue that our civil engineers built the infrastructure in the country, not only construct Brooklyn Bridge, but the cross-continental railroad, Erie Canal system, and so on. And if you come to more modern times, the digital revolution was really driven or launched by graduates of Rensselaer. Ted Hoff, class of 58, inventor of the microprocessor, is an engineer from RPI. Steve Sasson, class of 72, who invented digital camera, again, is an engineer from RPI. Curtis Priam, who designed the first graphics processor and co-founded the company NVIDIA, is an engineer from RPI. Professor in our Industrial and Systems Engineering Department, Professor Cheng Su, made important contributions to natural language interface, the thing that allows you to talk to your cell phone and they understand what you're saying. And so, Rensselaer graduates, Rensselaer faculty have contributed to this technological progress and revolutions. And so you might imagine, what might the future look like? What is the next technological revolution going to be like? And it's difficult, it's hard to predict. There's a beautiful book by MIT's President Emerita, Susan Hockfield, which talks about convergence of different disciplines. I would argue that engineering, life sciences, and computing broadly thought, whether it's AI, machine learning, other computing, together might launch the next technological revolution. It's hard to predict the future, but I am confident of one thing, that you, members of class of 2024, are going to be important contributors to that next technological revolution. You might say that this is a pretty optimistic, obviously, picture of the future. We are in the middle of a crisis. We are facing a major challenge, and Rensselaer is contributing to addressing that challenge as well. You might have seen the news that Rensselaer offered our Amos supercomputer to battle COVID-19. In fact, the President of the United States mentioned Rensselaer's contribution along with important companies and other academic institutions to this effort. We are also offering expertise in data, in networking, and in therapeutic innovation, in advanced materials to try to combat the COVID-19 challenge that we all face. You might take a broader view of the future, and you could take a piece of paper and write down your own challenges as to what are the big challenges, what do I want to solve as an engineer. And you may have your own list, and that might include human health and mitigation of diseases. We are in the middle of it. It might include energy and sustainability. How do we harvest? How do we generate energy? How do we store it? How do we distribute it in a sustainable manner? And that itself may be related to climate change challenge that we all face. Your list may include security of cyber infrastructure, security of physical infrastructure. There are other organizations and institutions that have thrown their challenges at us. If you go to the UN website, they have UN sustainability goals. There is the National Academy of Engineering, and they have thrown challenges at us. National Institutes of Health have thrown their challenges. I think these are really, really important problems. And as an engineer, as the Dean of Engineering, I am confident that it's engineers who will make major contributions, who engineers will solve these challenges. And so I think my broad message to you is that the world needs you. You are bright, you are passionate. The fact that you are accepted into RPI and that you are interested in engineering tells me that you are passionate about solving hard problems. And so the world today, more than ever, needs you. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know there are parents that are watching perhaps, and I know what you might be thinking. You'd say, Dean Garde, yes, I am interested in solving grand challenges. This all sounds great. But look, I want to get my first job. I want to build a successful career, and maybe that will, allow me to address these grand challenges. The parents particularly might be interested in what is the return on investment of going to Rensselaer, being an engineer, and so on. I won't belabor this point, but you can look up the surveys that are out there that kind of focus on return on investment. And we do really, really well. We're in the top 10 or top 15, certainly over many, many years. Engineering degree is certainly worth it. I want to tell you a bit about the School of Engineering at Rensselaer. We offer 11 undergraduate degrees in 7 different academic departments. And I'll just quickly kind of go through it. We have a degree in biomedical engineering, in chemical engineering. Our civil and environmental engineering offers 2 different bachelor's degrees. The industrial systems engineering offers industrial management engineering degree. The electrical and computer systems engineering offers 2 different degrees, electrical and computer systems engineering. Our mechanical, aerospace, and nuclear engineering is a fairly large department that offers 3 different degrees. And then we have material science and engineering, offering a degree in that discipline. Each of these programs also offer master's as well as PhD degrees in these disciplines. And these are exciting places to be. Now we've talked about why become an engineer. You want to solve grand challenges. What we have to offer in these different disciplines. Let's think a little bit about what does it take to be a good engineer? What makes a good engineer? You start asking other engineers, and they'll tell you that hard skills. Engineering is hard. They're hard skills that you need to master, and they include math and science, basic sciences. They include disciplinary knowledge, which we will be obviously teaching you depending on what engineering degree you are interested in. And of course, you're going to learn advanced tools, whether it's coding, it's modeling, it's data and analysis and visualization, or performing some state-of-the-art, really complicated experiments. Engineers certainly need to be able to do that. But I would argue that equally important is soft skills. We want engineers to solve problems with the understanding of the context of the society in which we live. We want to be effective leaders. And so leadership, communication, collaboration, and teamwork, these are important skills for a good engineer. And I'd go a step further, and I'd say that engineers have to be and are creative and empathetic. And there's a foundation of ethics. Whatever we do as engineers, when we apply technology, solve problems, there has to be a foundation of ethics applying these technologies in this manner. All right, so these are sort of like higher level ideas about what does it take to be a good engineer. What does it take to be an engineer at RPI? How do we translate these ideas into the curriculum that we have at RPI? Now, when you decide initially to say, I want to be a biomedical engineer, or I want to be a mechanical engineer, you might go to our departments or our websites, and you'll maybe download a template that looks like this. These are the courses you might take, and that's what makes you a particular kind of engineer. And the reason I've made the slide so small and the font so small is that I don't want you to read it. You notice that there are 4 years and there are a bunch of courses and so on. That's how the high-level ideas are formulated. So let's unpack them a little bit. What you'll find if you go through the template that you are interested in is that there's a lot of math and sciences early on in Rensselaer curriculum, along with engineering sciences, things that may be common for many engineering disciplines. Then you start seeing your disciplinary engineering courses. If you're in chemical engineering, you start seeing chemical engineering courses and so on. There's a wonderful opportunity called the Arch, and I'll talk about it in detail, but you go through Arch, which is characterized by immersion, a great interaction with faculty, and understanding of the context of in which we work. And then you come back in your senior year from the Arch away semester. You go away during the Arch. I'll talk about that in a bit, where you are exploring the world, you're understanding the context, and then you come back and you synthesize, you apply what you've learned in all of these courses to solve some real life problems. That's what the curriculum sort of translates to at Rensselaer. And let's not forget that throughout the curriculum, we've integrated data, computation, and modeling and experiments, as well as the skills of critical thinking and having global view, communication, collaboration, and leadership. And you'd find opportunities to learn and to apply these skills throughout the template. I should slow down a little bit, shouldn't I? Okay. There's another way to look at your particular template, and you might say, let's count the credits. Let's count how many classes or credits of each type do I have to take, and this is kind of a summary of a particular standard engineering template, if you will. There are 28 credits in math and science core. Typically, a class at Rensselaer is 4 credits. And so you take 7 courses in math and science. You take more than 5 courses in humanities, arts, and social sciences. We think humanities, arts, social sciences, ability to communicate, ability to understand the social context in which we technological people work is extremely important. And that's why we have required courses in humanities, arts, and social science. There's a bunch of disciplinary requirements. You have a lot of electives and free electives. The line that you noticed, free electives, 12 credits. These are 3 courses that are essentially free for you to choose. You can take courses in economics, or if there's a course in art or culture, or even in ice hockey, you could certainly take that. All of these credits add up to 128. And I know you're going to forget all about these kinds of details. And so the only thing I'd say to remember is that there's tremendous flexibility. This template is not highly prescribed for you. You have a lot of opportunity to imagine and to kind of formulate what it is that you want to achieve from Rensselaer. And I think that flexibility is important because you're going to spend 4 years of your time at Rensselaer. You're going to apply your talent, and you're going to spend money to attend RPI. And so your goal really should be to use this flexibility to make most of your time, talent, and treasure. And so think about minors, dual majors, or getting a 5-year co-terminal master's where you stay 1 more year at RPI and you get your master's degree. And if you are inclined to doing research, solving open-ended problems, you've done really well during your BS to do research, then there are opportunities also to accelerate your PhD through BS PhD programs. There are large number of minors that are available to our students. They're minors in sciences, obviously physics, chemistry, biology, math. There are many minors available in our humanities, arts, and social sciences school, whether it's economics or video art or computer music and things like that. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's lots of opportunity. I want to tell you that last fall, we launched a very special minor called Data Science and Engineering minor. And that would be certainly a fantastic skill to have for any engineer, and especially if you're interested in computing data and algorithms. Last year, we also launched, we were the first school in the country to launch what we call a data dexterity requirement. Our goal is to have every Rensselaer student graduating from RPI, every engineer, to be dexterous in data, to understand how to analyze data, how to discover knowledge in large databases. This is more and more important, as you can imagine. And so you will go through the curriculum that will have data dexterity requirement that will be built in. Let's talk a little bit about minors, dual degrees, and beyond. So minors are prescribed by a specific program that is offering the minor, and it would say you have to take 5 courses of these type to get a minor. Fairly straightforward to get that using the flexibility. There's also opportunity to do dual degrees. There are some disciplines where there's a significant overlap in those disciplines. And so you can do aero and mechanical, for example, or electrical and computer science, or computer systems and computer science to get those dual degrees. And many students certainly do that. There are other dual degrees that may make sense for you, but there's less overlap between those disciplines. And so there you have to maybe have to stay a semester extra because you have to do more courses, but those could be really good for a career if it makes sense for you. So you might think about dual degrees of those sorts that I've listed here. We have an outstanding program, and that is at the intersection of engineering and humanities, called Product Design and Innovation, and our mechanical engineer, electrical engineers frequently do a dual degree with PDI, or Product Design Innovation programs. While you're thinking about what you might do at RPI, perhaps you're thinking at the back of your mind about what I'm going to do after graduating from RPI. Obviously, a large number of our students go to a variety of industries. But many of our students also go to graduate study, do masters or a PhD. Some go to medical school or law school. And I'd say there's a lot of guidance, there's a lot of help, and I'll talk about that to help you sort of decide that. Let me move to Arch. This is a really exciting initiative that we launched a few years ago. And the idea is that after your sophomore year, as you are becoming rising juniors, you would spend a summer on Rensselaer campus, taking a semester worth of courses. The summer at Rensselaer in this Arch semester is very special because there's a lot of interaction with faculty. You have smaller number of students on campus, so there's a lot of immersion and learning that takes place. There's also a range of co-curricular activities. We have site visits or field trips to a variety of industries. Many of our faculty have a variety of interests in their research or otherwise, and so they might offer 1 or 2 credit or a simple 2-lecture course with a 0 credit, and say, let me teach you about how to do CAD and 3D printing, or let me talk about how to launch companies, or let's learn about black holes. There was a course last year given by our Associate Dean, Professor Kurt Anderson, who has a webinar which focused on space in Hollywood movies. So there's a lot of Hollywood movies focused on space, Martian and Interstellar and so on. And so he went through some of those and tried to figure out with students, hey, which ideas are scientifically accurate and which are not, so on. It's a fun pop-up course during the summer. We also bring a lot of exciting visitors to campus during the summer, and you have a chance to interact with them. And I can tell you that summers are just absolutely beautiful in this area. And so there's a lot of activities that are planned by our student life office, outdoor and cultural and social. It's really a great time to be here. And being here during the summer creates an opportunity for you during your junior year, either in the fall or spring semester, to go away to explore the world. And so there we have an outstanding career and professional development center that helps students to find these opportunities, whether it's co-op or internship. And you can do fall and then the following summer, or spring and the following summer. So it could be a longer co-op or longer experience in industry or government or national lab. Or it could be that you're doing independent learning. You have some project in mind and you want to work on that, and you submit that to Rensselaer, and we will help you with that. Let me give you, so what has happened is in the translation of different formats of slides, the numbers have gotten moved around a little bit, but I hope you can still see the numbers. These are stats for class of 2023, so last year's fall class. We had a little over 1,700 students, and you notice that engineering has the largest number of students. We have about 50% or higher number of students at Rensselaer are in engineering, but every one of our schools has healthy enrollment. If you look at engineering, here is how our numbers break down. And I won't go through the details except to say that every one of our programs has students who are interested in those. Recently, aeronautical engineering has had more enrollment than in the past. Mechanical is our biggest program. Biomedical engineering is obviously popular. And then you'll notice at the bottom, there is undecided engineering with 99 students last year. When you come into RPI, you might say that, hey, I'm interested in aeronautical or nuclear or something like that. But you don't have to do that. You would say that, look, I'm interested in many disciplines. I don't know which engineering I'm going to choose, and I'm undecided, and that's perfectly fine. In fact, I can tell you that I think 40% of our students actually end up changing their major. And you saw the student early on in her presentation talked about that she was, I think, in biomedical engineering, and she moved to industrial and management engineering. This happens all the time. And you also notice that the industrial management or environmental numbers look a little bit smaller initially, but those numbers grow as undecided engineering students or other disciplines decide to find their passion and they say, I want to be in. So these numbers certainly grow significantly later on. I also want to point out a statistic that I am proud of. We have more than 30% women enrolled in engineering. About 2 years ago, we made a major milestone in our 200-year history. We have, for the first time, more than 1,000 women enrolled in various engineering programs, undergraduate engineering programs. You can see the distribution of numbers in that table, and you'll notice that biomedical or environmental engineering have more than 50% women. Chemical engineering is approaching 50%. And then there are other disciplines with about 35 to 40. And then we have work to do in computer systems and electrical engineering to attract more women to those disciplines. Those disciplines certainly have impact on humanity, and we certainly need to do a better job of communicating that. At this point, you are thinking about the fall semester or the first year. And so if you look at your template, whatever engineering discipline you might be interested in, it might look very similar to most engineering disciplines. And this is what the first year roughly looks like. I mentioned that there's a lot of science and math credits. And so the stuff in the red, the courses in the red are from the School of Science. The courses highlighted in blue are the humanities, arts, and social sciences electives. And then you have some engineering classes, typically engineering skills that are common to most disciplines. Now you might be thinking that, gee, I already have AP credits for Calc 1 or even for Calc 2 or chemistry or something like that. What am I going to do? It's no problem at all. In fact, I'll tell you about how we do advising in a little bit later. But you would simply take the next higher level course. You might take differential equation or multivariable calculus if you are up for it. If you're not sure, our advice typically is to take the course at RPI, even though you might feel comfortable with it, and you might find that maybe the style is different, maybe the problems are more challenging, and it's okay to get an A grade with a little bit easily. When I talked about the template, I said that our curriculum has a lot of flexibility. The other point I would highlight is that there is tremendous support for you at RPI. I'll go through that, but we have in engineering what is called the Advising Hub. I call it Hub 2.0, which has, let me move to the next slide and see, which has, professional and caring, dedicated academic advising staff. They know all about curriculum. They know about where to find help in the campus, and they're going to be your advisors for first 1 and 1.5 years. So I would recommend that you go to the Hub website, find out who these people are, and start interacting with them. They're just outstanding people. There's obviously faculty advisors. So each student that comes into engineering will have not only the Hub advisor, but we will have faculty advisor. And the role of faculty advisor becomes even more important as you progress through Rensselaer, because as you go through your second year, if I'm your advisor, I'm going to ask you, hey, have you thought about doing research, or have you thought about going to grad school, or where are you going to find jobs? So we will have much more meaningful discussion about careers as you progress through the curriculum. The dean's office, my office, and our associate deans, we want to talk to you. It is not like the high school where you get called into the principal's office only when you're in trouble. I want to meet with you. I want to see you. And I would generally, if I were to meet you in person, I would say one homework that you have is to come and say hello to me for just 1 minute during your first year. So I'm going to give you homework to all of you if you come to RPI. We want to find out how you're doing. We want to find out if there's anything we can do to make your life better. We want to find out if you have great ideas that we can support from our office. So please come say hello. We have excellent Center for Career and Professional Development. And those are the professionals who will help you make contact, help you write your resume, help conduct mock interviews so that you will do better on your real interview. There's a great counseling center. And then when you think about academics, our faculty, our teaching assistants who are graduate students who are exceptional in the course that they are helping the faculty member with. They do not teach classes, but they help grade, they help conduct office hours or help sessions and so on. And then there's a whole range of other resources, such as the Advising and Learning Assistance Center, where there are tutors, there's teams of students who are there to help you. I think the main point, if you forget all of these details, is that there's a tremendous support infrastructure here, and it is completely okay to say, look, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I'm confused. I need help, and I want to talk to somebody. People are very busy. I get about 200 emails every day, sometimes more now that we've gone online for a little bit. But if you come and seek help, there you will always find help, and so don't be afraid. Okay, as you're considering RPI, you might ask me, what makes RPI education special? What's special about RPI? And so next few slides, I'll try to make those points. I'd say the first thing that comes to mind is our faculty. We have outstanding faculty. Typically, when you go take a course, you might find that a faculty member has written the textbook that they're teaching from. Maybe you're using it, but certainly your parents would know Halliday and Resnick's book in physics. If you come to the engineering building outside of my office, there's a big showcase with lots of books that are written by our faculty. Our faculty are fellows of National Academies of Engineering, National Academy of Science, National Academy of Inventors. Our junior faculty have won a large number of Young Investigator Awards. They're fellows of major professional societies. They're really just awesome people. So what's my advice to you when you come to RPI? You are spending your time and money at RPI, so go to class. Don't miss class. It's a very fast-paced environment. We teach you a lot of things, and so going to class is important. Every professor and every teaching assistant are required to have office hours, and we want to see you at office hours. Even if you are understanding what's going on in the class, we want to see you, because that's where a lot of interaction, informal interaction, takes place. Get to know your professors. If you ask me to write a recommendation letter to you for a job or an internship, I want to say something more than this person has done well in my class or has a GPA of 3.5. I want to say that you took leadership in the American Institute of Chemical Engineering Club, or you were on the you were treasurer for the Forge, or you built some interesting project. And so I will not know that unless we interact. So get to know your professor, and without belaboring the point, get help. We're here to help you. What makes RPI special? I would say that we, our faculty, our staff, are always thinking about what is 21st century technological education and how do we place ourselves at the leadership position, what we teach and how we deliver it. And so there's just a whole range of things I don't have time to go through, but last fall, we launched an augmented and virtual reality lab that is allowing our students to go into environments which are otherwise not possible, whether it's learning about molecules or learning about how an airplane gets a lift, and you can change the shapes of wings and the angles, and you see how the lift forces changes, and you can optimize those. Or you could do research on virtual surgery, where you wear a haptic device, you're wearing virtual reality goggles, and you are actually conducting surgery. This is the work of the head of our Department of Mechanical Aerospace and Nuclear Engineering, Dr. Severano Day. We have an outstanding laboratory called the MIL, Manufacturing Innovation Learning Laboratory, where there are robots. There's a lot of manufacturing, advanced manufacturing machinery. We conduct classes in there, and it's just a fabulous place for students to get hands-on learning. We're also in the process of establishing what we're going to call the Hearst Laboratory for Immersive Manufacturing, supported by the Hearst Foundation. Our faculty are also active in a whole range of pedagogical innovations where they're flipping classes or flipping even laboratories, where you might get some laboratory components to take to your dorm or to your home, and you conduct experiments, you upload the data into your laptop, and you do analysis of that. It's really an exciting place. What makes RPI special? I'd say that we have fantastic facilities, whether it's studio classrooms, collaboration spaces for our students. Our chemistry, our biology, our science laboratories are updated and modern. And then in engineering, they're just amazing undergraduate experimental facilities. There's a picture of the subsonic wind tunnel lab here. If you're a nuclear engineer, you'll get to work in to do experiments in a linear accelerator. Biomedical engineering, we have a profab lab. Every department will have an exciting undergraduate laboratory that we have updated, modernized over the past few years. What makes RPI special? We engineers, we design, we build. If you ask Dean Anderson about what engineers do, he would tell you that we turn dreams into reality. We take ideas and we turn them into reality, and design is an important part of that exercise. And so our curriculum is special in that design thinking is woven throughout the curriculum. It's not that 1 year you do design, but it's throughout our curriculum. In the first year, you'll take courses in engineering, graphics, and computer-aided design. In the second year, there's a wonderful course called Introduction to Engineering Design, IED, where you will work in teams, you'll communicate with each other, and you'll build or you solve an industrially relevant or interesting problem. And we find that many times this is the first time some students have actually built something with their hand, and so it's a real great experience for them. What makes RPI special? I'd say that we have an amazing culture of innovation, culture of making, thinking, and inventing. I know that in your high school there might be a maker, thinker, inventor lab. We have a large number of such laboratories distributed throughout our School of Engineering. I'm really proud of the Forge. It's a student-run maker laboratory. We started it about 4 years ago, and in the short time, it has become the largest student club on our campus. It's got all kinds of making equipment, but I would say that it is also a hub of making community, and I encourage you to look up hub on the web. We also have laboratories in robotics or IoT, Internet of Things. We have a lab in our electrical engineering, which is made possible by a very generous alum, Mr. Doug Mercer, class of '77, which is a maker lab for electrical engineers. And we run competitions there, like the Silicon Chef. Your team in the morning would get a bunch of electronic components, and by the evening, you have to make something useful out of it. This innovation, culture of innovation, and our collaborations with, obviously, the Lally School, where there's a Center for Entrepreneurship, has led to a lot of companies that are led by our alums. Ecovative Design, if you're interested in sustainability, it's a company that takes mushrooms, mycelium, and converts them into packaging that when you're done with it, you can throw it in your backyard and it'll biodegrade. HeartFlow is truly an exciting company that was launched from Stanford by an alum of Rensselaer Engineering, Dr. Charles Taylor, and it is revolutionized by bringing bioimaging of the heart, so CT scans of heart, computer modeling of how the blood flows through arteries and veins, and AI, machine learning, and other computing. It's really revolutionized how we think about arterial blockage and how we fix it. I invite you to check it out. And then the company Vital Veo, which was launched by an alum of our biomedical engineering department, which is helping kill pathogens and bacteria through use of light. What makes RPI and engineering special is the outstanding research that our faculty do. We have exceptional faculty and exceptional facilities. And I'm a professor, so once I get started talking about research, it'll be a long seminar, so I'll control myself. But we have research in 5 signature thrust areas. And at the intersection of engineering and life sciences, there's tremendous research going on, whether it's at the molecular level, engineering proteins or antibodies for diseases, or work on thinking about peptides that allow payload to cross the blood-brain barrier, or using tissue engineering, using 3D printers to print skin and then grafting it on burn victims to a larger scale animal models, or bioimaging to do better diagnosis and intervention during real surgery. In energy, environment, and smart systems, there is amazing research going on in terms of how we harvest energy, developing batteries for storage of high density storage of energy. In advanced materials and nanotechnology, we were early in this game. We were the first university, one of the first 6 universities to get a nanotechnology center funded by National Science Foundation. And there's a lot of work going on, marrying biology with material science, or looking at light and materials for quantum computing or other applications. RPI and engineering has always been strong in computation. You probably already heard about our supercomputer on our campus, and that's enabling us to do amazing things. And then even in media and the arts, which is a signature thrust of the Institute, engineers are contributing, especially those in electrical who work on the computer vision, contributing to research in that area. A couple of years ago, we launched a major initiative with partner IBM in the area of artificial intelligence and machine learning research. We are hiring faculty in this area, we're building strength, and we're already applying AI and machine learning techniques to a whole range of problems, from diagnosis of autism to doing better diagnosis or intervention in surgery, or for security of infrastructure, or space navigation. Rensselaer is also very strong in advanced manufacturing. We are a tier 1 partner, or we are leaders in 3 major advanced manufacturing institutes, one in manufacturing of biopharmaceuticals, another one in clean energy smart manufacturing, and one in advanced robotics. So I'm going to just text Greg to make sure that good now. All right. All right. So you are a high school student thinking about undergraduate degree, and you might say, what is all this research mean to me as an undergraduate student at Rensselaer? I'll tell you that a large fraction of our students do undergraduate research. The fact that faculty have a number of research contracts that are funded by federal government or industry or foundations creates a lot of opportunity for you. And of course, the research also seeps into classrooms. So the courses you will see also in the courses that you take, you see research problems. Here's an example of a graduate from last year, Parth Bhide, who graduated chemical engineering, had a minor in material science. He did outstanding research in the area of nanostructured polymers. Published a paper in Langmuir, which is an awesome ACS journal, presented a paper at an annual meeting of American Institute of Chemical Engineers, and won a whole range of awards. Helped us with the outreach. We have a club organization called Engineering Ambassador, and through which our students go into local rural communities to communicate the excitement about engineering to high school or middle school students, and he helped us with that. And he managed to find time to write an excellent proposal to National Science Foundation that is funding his PhD now at the University of Minnesota, which is a chemical engineering department, obviously. Our students also work in teams in undergraduate research. I'm going to show you one short video where you'll hear our Associate Dean, Professor Kurt Anderson, talk about project that he has led in undergraduate
Space
research.
debris
So here we
is
go.
a huge and growing problem. Even a small piece of debris can cause incredible damage. We have to do something about removing these pieces of space debris. One solution that I and my students have come up with is something that we call OSCAR. This represents the upper unit of OSCAR, which is a 3-unit CubeSat, so it's 30 by 10 by 10. It's capable of actually finding, capturing, and deorbiting up to 4 pieces of space debris per mission. After OSCAR has captured the final piece of debris, OSCAR deorbits itself, dragging the last piece of debris down with it. Finding this debris in this huge expanse of space where you don't know positively where it is to begin with is a very, very challenging problem. And so this is actually what most of my students are working on. A large part of the structure of OSCAR has already been designed. The mechanism is actually the easy part. The brains doing the optimization, very challenging problem. We envision a day where we could send up an entire flock or squadron of OSCARs that would work jointly after going after large collections of debris or very large pieces of debris, too large for an individual OSCAR.
And when you do outstanding research, we celebrate it too. We have every year an undergraduate research symposium where you get a chance to present your research. There's a panel of judges that will come and ask you hard questions about what you've done, and then we give awards. So it's really a fun thing to do to solve these open-ended problems and do research. There's life outside of classroom, outside of research. If you go to our student union webpage, you'll find that there are 250 clubs at Rensselaer, and they range from highly technical clubs to, I understand, a cheese tasting club. So there's a lot of opportunity. Obviously, rock climbing or mountain biking, stuff like that. So there's just a lot of opportunity. Here are some examples of clubs that are primarily technical that I've listed here. But what's amazing to me is that students are leading or participating in clubs. They are doing undergraduate research, and they're earning excellent grades at RPI. I don't know how they do it, but they manage to do it. Here's a picture from Formula S car team. The team has about 40 members from different electrical, mechanical, aerospace, and some management major. And every year they build a car and they race the car and we do pretty well in national competitions. I would say that our campus is also intellectually vibrant, bringing amazing people to campus. Here is a picture from last year where we had invited Dr. Franz to visit our campus, and before her visit, a Nobel Prize in history was announced, and she said, "I'm still come. I love RPI. I'm going to come. I'm going to talk about it done," and it was a fabulous visit. The reason I mention this is we make sure that you, our students, I'm told that the video is frozen again. These are challenges with this new medium. I'm hoping that that you can see me again. All right, so we're good. So just to kind of recap, we have an intellectually vibrant campus. We bring amazing people to our campus, and as a dean, I make sure that you undergraduate students have a chance to meet with them, interact with these excellent visitors. Control slides. And here's a list of visitors that I've visited in relatively recently, and you'll notice Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, who was invited by the President of Rensselaer, Dr. Shan Jackson. And there's artists, there are industry leaders, and we make sure that you have a chance to interact with these amazing people that come to campus. All right, I promised you that I will show you what the salaries are. This is data from last year, 2019, salary survey. I've listed average salaries each of the disciplines, and then the range of salaries from low to the highest. I would strongly suggest to you that don't be don't make your decision about a particular discipline based just on salary. My view is that if you are passionate about what you want to learn, and if you do really, really well, you're going to have great opportunities. And so uh, have your decision about selection of a discipline be driven by what's inside you. What do you want to do? What do you like to do? There's numbers for salaries for masters and PhD, and they usually also vary, but there's clearly a bump to getting a professional degree beyond your bachelor's degree. Again, congratulations to all of you. Congratulations that you've been accepted into RPI and that you've decided to be an engineer. And I really hope you will join us. As Rensselaer told us that there's a lot of events, online events that are coming up. I really wish, it's beautiful, it's sunny out here. I wish you were on our campus. But because we can't do that, there's a lot of virtual activities that we've planned. There are presentations by our associate deans who are experts in their disciplines, and they have also great knowledge about engineering. Every engineering department at RPI is also doing their own webinar. Our hub advisors are doing meetings with you. We've launched a new YouTube channel, and a lot of our students who are in their homes have sent videos, selfie videos about their experience at RPI. Those might be a little bit raw videos, they're not professional polished videos, but it gives you a sense of how great our students are, how great their RPI experience has been. And if you want to meet with them, there's a meeting or meet engineers forum that we're planning. I know that these links have a lot of letters in them, and so I hope maybe you can take a picture of this and then log in to find out more. And again, at the beginning, I said I'm going to answer 3 questions. Why become an engineer? Because engineers solve important and hard problems. Why RPI? Why Rensselaer? Because Rensselaer is truly a special place. It's outstanding for engineering education and research. If you are an engineer, if you're a technology person, you know how good RPI education is. You know how good RPI is. And then you might ask, what is the future? It's not a profitable exercise to try to predict future, but you are going to make the future, and I'm confident that you'll contribute to making the world a better place. So when we say why not change the world, we will not only change the world, but with your help, we will change it for the better.